There's a niche of books that the smartest anime characters would read. You know the type. Madarame Baku, Akagi, Ayanokoji, Akiyama, all characters whose minds are their ultimate weapon. They're often associated with classics like The 48 Laws of Power, The Prince and the Art of War, books about power, manipulation, and strategy. But here's something deeper. If you want to truly think like these characters, not just mimic their surface-level strategies, you need to read what sharp minds read to sharpen how they think, not just what they think. In this video, I'll introduce you to 2 books that go beyond simple tactics. These are tools to fundamentally change the way your mind operates. I won't flood you with titles. 2 is enough, because reading without comprehension is intellectual cosplay. We're not here to fake depth. We're here to cultivate it. These are books for people serious about developing real intelligence, not just collecting quotes for social media. And let me be clear, skimming won't cut it. You'll need to read slowly, write, reflect, revisit. Thinking isn't something you just have, it's something you build. Most people believe they are thinking when, in fact, their minds are running on autopilot, biased, superficial, unexamined. Reality is complex. And intelligence means coming to peace with that complexity instead of running from it. The deadliest intellectual trap is believing that seeing the surface means understanding the depth. That's not thinking. That's delusion. The first book is Critical Thinking: Tools for Taking Charge of Your Professional and Personal Life by Richard Paul and Linda Elder. It's not a flashy title, but this is the blueprint for thinking like a genius. Let me share one line from the preface. If your thinking is unrealistic, your thinking will lead to many disappointments. This is the core philosophy of strategic minds, fictional or real. People like Akagi or Ayanokoji win not because they hope for things to go their way, but because they see reality as it is, even when it's uncomfortable. The truth is, if you feel like you're not evolving mentally, it doesn't mean evolution isn't happening. It's because you don't know how to measure it. Most people use vague feelings, like confidence or lack of anxiety, as metrics for progress. That's flawed. Critical thinking trains you to assess your own thinking with precision, not emotion. Human minds are plagued with cognitive biases. These biases once helped us survive primitive threats, but now sabotage us in a complex world. People who never question their thinking fall prey to illusions, narratives, shortcuts, and false certainty. But the difference between ordinary people and intellectual outliers is simple: awareness. Left to itself, the mind deteriorates. It becomes distorted, prejudiced, reactive. Clear thinking is not our default state. It's a discipline. It's something you impose on the chaos of your own mind. The book teaches that critical thinking is the art of recognizing your cognitive distortions, reflecting rigorously, and noticing where your knowledge ends and ignorance begins. It's the antidote to the modern plague of oversimplification. Look around. Society runs on shortcuts. People think AI will fix their problems, that some guru has the secret to instant success, or that one productivity hack will fix a decade of bad habits. You will unlearn this desperation for shortcuts. Because here's the truth. Those who crave easy solutions are the most exploitable people on the planet. To truly evolve, you must be fearless. You will interrogate your most sacred beliefs. You will assume they are wrong until proven otherwise. This is not a cause for despair. It's the beginning of power. Because once you stop lying to yourself, you can finally orient your thinking toward reality, not illusion. This is how the smartest characters win. They are not free of mistakes. They are free of the illusion that they are immune to mistakes. They assume they are wrong, and work relentlessly to correct their errors faster than anyone else. This book is not just a recommendation. It is an intellectual manual. A weapon. Treat it like a Bible. Annotate it. Wear it out. Burn it into your neural pathways. This is the way forward. This is how you stop consuming intellectual content and start transforming into someone with real mental firepower. But we're not done yet. You've already understood that critical thinking is about removing the distortions in your mind. But here's something even more confronting. Most of what you believe about yourself, the world, and even your own abilities was not chosen by you. It was installed. Your mind didn't start empty. It was programmed by your parents, your teachers, your culture, your peer group, and most dangerously by your ego. And the scariest part? The default state of the mind is not rationality. It's self-deception. The book makes a brutal point that most people miss. The human mind is naturally egocentric and sociocentric. It doesn't seek truth. It seeks comfort. It seeks validation. It seeks to preserve the narrative that I am right, even if that narrative is killing your growth. Think about that. Every time reality punches you in the face, whether it's failure, disappointment, or confusion, it's usually because your thinking was distorted. Either you assumed things would go one way without evidence, or you ignored information that felt uncomfortable. And your mind let you do it because that's how it protects your fragile sense of self. If your thinking is chaotic, so are your emotions. So are your goals. So is your life. This is why some people are chronically disappointed with life. Their thoughts produce distorted emotions, which lead them to pursue the wrong things, which generates more frustration, an endless self-created loop of failure. Every thought has 8 elements whether you realize it or not. Purpose. What am I trying to accomplish? Question. What question am I answering? Information. What facts or data am I using? Interpretation/inference. What conclusions am I drawing? Concepts. What ideas am I using to make sense of this? Assumptions. What am I taking for granted? Implications. If I'm right, what follows? Point of view. From what perspective am I looking at this? If you don't consciously check each of these, you are walking blind. And the worst part? You will feel confident anyway. Because the default human mind rewards itself with the feeling of certainty, even when it's dead wrong. This is why critical thinking feels uncomfortable at first. You will constantly have to admit, I was assuming something false. I missed key information. I was interpreting based on faulty concepts. But here's the paradox. Once you accept this discomfort, it becomes liberating. You stop defending a broken view of the world. You stop fighting reality. You start actually perceiving things as they are. Most people think of thinking as binary. You're either smart or you're not. This is false. Thinking has levels. Unreflective thinkers. They don't even realize their thinking is flawed. They run on autopilot. Challenged thinkers. They sense something is wrong with their thinking, but don't know what. Beginning thinkers. They start learning how to critique their own mind. Practicing thinkers. They actively correct themselves. Thinking becomes a craft. Advanced thinkers. They habitually catch their distortions in real time. Master thinkers. Their entire life becomes an ongoing refinement process. Ask yourself honestly, which one are you? The difference between the smartest characters in fiction and in real life and the average person is this: they don't rely on raw intelligence. They rely on corrected thinking. The book also issues a final, brutal warning. If you do not take charge of your thinking, others will do it for you. Governments, corporations, influencers, ideologies, they all understand one thing. Most people are cognitively passive. They don't question. They don't think about their thinking, so they are easily manipulated, easily sold to, easily distracted. If you do not master your own mind, someone else will weaponize it against you. Now that you understand how to clean the lens of your own thinking, it's time to go one level deeper. Because clarity alone is not enough. Even perfect logic is not enough. There's a reason characters like Akagi, Ayanokoji, Baku, and Akiyama don't just think clearly, they outplay entire systems. They win games designed for them to lose. They exploit blind spots nobody else even realizes exist. What's the difference between a person who thinks clearly and a person who wins? And that's the second book I bring to you. The Cultural Roots of Strategic Intelligence by Gino LaPaglia. This is not a typical strategy book. It's not a collection of tactics. It's an autopsy of how strategy itself was born, how cultures across history produced people who didn't just survive, but manipulated hostile environments in ways others couldn't even perceive. The book teaches a brutal truth. Life is an antagonistic environment. This isn't just a motivational phrase, it's a worldview. Throughout history, humans developed a specific kind of intelligence, encoded into myths, philosophies, religions, and legends. An intelligence born from understanding that the world is hostile, limited, unpredictable, and that survival is a game of perception, timing, and manipulation of reality itself. The core metaphor behind strategic intelligence is disturbing, but liberating. Life is death. What does that mean? It means that existence itself is a struggle against forces that threaten your value, your agency, your identity, and your freedom. Not just biological death, but symbolic death, failure, irrelevance, submission, being outplayed. And here's the terrifying realization. Every time you are deceived, you are strategically dead. Every time you are predictable, you are exploitable. Every time you conform blindly, you lose your agency. This is the game everyone is playing, even if they don't realize it. The book dissects how cultures like the Greeks, Romans, Chinese, and Renaissance Europe developed entire intellectual systems designed for one thing: to teach individuals how to win asymmetric games. Games where the environment is against you. Games where the opponent is bigger, richer, stronger, more connected. Games where brute force isn't an option, so cunning becomes the only path. This is why Ayanokoji wins despite hiding his power. Why Akagi wins despite walking into games designed for him to lose. Why Baku rewrites rules instead of obeying them. They embody what this book teaches. Dolos, the Greek concept of cunning trickery. Shu, the Chinese art of technique, manipulation, and power management. Thick black theory, the ruthless pragmatism of using shamelessness and heartless cruelty when necessary. These aren't metaphors for storytelling, they're descriptions of how intelligent actors operate in the real world across all cultures. Most people are raised in systems that condition them to be compliant. But the strategist knows systems are built for the benefit of their creators, not for you. This is why the strategist's first weapon is interpretation. You must learn to see the hidden architecture of the game you're in. What are the real constraints? Where is the invisible leverage? Which rules are real and which are just social compliance theater? Without this perceptual upgrade, intelligence is useless. You can be brilliant and still be checkmated by someone less smart, but more strategically aware. The book argues that becoming a strategist isn't just about knowledge. It's an identity. In a hostile, asymmetric world, thinking like everyone else is a death sentence. And here's where this gets real for you. You live in a world of invisible games, attention games, social media, economic games, market manipulation, status games, corporate, academic, personal, psychological warfare, advertising, politics, AI-driven persuasion. If you are not strategically literate, you are someone else's resource, someone else's statistic, someone else's pawn. La Paglia's book shows that the roots of strategic intelligence are not just intellectual, they are existential. You are either designing the game or being played by it. Learn to see symbolic death. Where are you being deceived, limited, or entrapped without realizing? Adopt scenario awareness. Always ask, what is the unseen trap in this situation? Master the art of controlled deception. Understand that not every truth should be revealed. Information is power. Recognize timing as a weapon. Being right at the wrong time is indistinguishable from being wrong. This book is not entertainment. It is a manual for life in systems that are not designed for your success. Strategic intelligence is not about being evil. It's about refusing to be naive. This is the final layer of intelligence. After you clean your thinking, you must learn how to interface with a world full of traps, manipulation, and power asymmetry. Strategic intelligence. This is the mindset of those who win, not by luck, but by design.